Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Tithe Ahmed. I'm a third year biology major. I'm in Chinese 208, and that is Chinese calligraphy. We have about 30 students in our class, and there are other sections of the course. I'm in the third section, and I'm taking this course as a colonnade requirement, but I've learned a lot and I've learned to really enjoy it.
What does Chinese calligraphy mean to you?
Um, I've learned that it's both a form of artistic expression, but also a way to for people to learn about Chinese tradition and culture. Before this class, I had never taken a Chinese course before. I didn't know anything about the Chinese language or the culture, but with having almost completed a full semester, I've learned a lot about it. It's a nice break from the normal science classes that I take, and I was challenged to use different parts of my brain when I was doing calligraphy and learning the different strokes and how to write certain phrases and stuff. And so it really challenged me as a creator, and I appreciated everything that it taught me over the semester.
Can you tell us a little background on where and when Chinese calligraphy got started?
Yeah, so Chinese calligraphy actually started as pictographs, and it was created by Tang Jie in the 3rd millennium BCE. It originally started as like inscriptions on pottery and jade, and also oracle bone script, which is where they scripted it into pieces of bone from cattle and stuff like that. And that was used for divination, so sort of like prophetic writing. It was discovered during the Qing dynasty during 1899, and it was simplified in 1949 because of low literacy throughout the region. And it was found and used in China and the surrounding regions like Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and other surrounding countries.
Has Chinese calligraphy transformed from its inception to modern times?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, it started as pictographs, but then it eventually moved to logographs, to semantics, and then to phonetics. And there's actually 6 classes of modern script. You have indicative, pictographic, phonetic, ideographic, phonetic loans, and borrowed. There is now a separation between traditional and simplified. There's a lot of argument between what should be practiced and what should be taught in schools. Traditional obviously holds a lot of the history and culture of Chinese calligraphy and how the Chinese language developed, but simplified is easier to teach and easier to learn in schools, and it helps increase the literacy of those populations. It has given way to a lot of other languages, and it has influenced a lot of other Eastern and Southeastern Asian languages like Japanese, Korean, the Yi scripts, Khitan, and a lot of other languages from that region.
Can you explain what the 4 treasures of Chinese calligraphy are?
Yeah, so the 4 treasures are the brush, ink, paper, and then inkstone. Paper obviously varies, but usually we use rice paper for official works and professional works. And inkstone is a very special stone that you can use to create the ink using water, but it varies from level to level, but those are the 4 treasures.
Why has calligraphy remained such an enduring practice?
It's a way for people to pass down tradition and to educate others on Chinese history and the Chinese language. It's a core of Chinese arts and culture. If you go to any sort of museum, calligraphy is going to be incorporated into the majority of Chinese artwork. And it's also an important part of people's daily lives. People use it every day, they read it every day. A lot of people make a living off of it. This is their profession, they become masters in it. People learn it in school. You can get degrees in it and become masters of Chinese calligraphy. So it's just sort of an all-engulfing practice in Chinese culture.
Can you show us how to hold a calligraphy brush?
Yeah. So there's 2 ways that you learn when you're being introduced to Chinese calligraphy. One is like this, and so you have 2 fingers on this side and 2 fingers on that side, but you leave space in between your palm and where you hold the brush, and you always hold your arm straight and steady. Another way is to act as if you're holding a tangerine in between your palm and the brush, to where it is stable and steady and you're not moving your wrist, but instead you're using sort of your whole arm to write.
What are some basic strokes in Chinese calligraphy?
So when we were being introduced to the first basic strokes, we learned vertical, horizontal, ticks, and hooks. So verticals, there are a few different ways to draw them. You can start pressing your brush down, and then you work your way down and then sort of circle back. or you can press your brush down and lift off like that gently. Horizontal is sort of the same idea. You press down and then hook back. Ticks, it's very balanced on the pressure of your brush and how you hold your brush. But ticks, you press down and circle back, and hooks, a lot of pressure at the end, and then you swing off. And those are a few of the basic strokes, but obviously as you practice, you become more comfortable with them, and people sort of develop their own way to do it, and it sort of personalizes your calligraphy. But yeah.
So, what does it take to be considered a master of calligraphy?
Something that I've learned that is pretty consistent throughout all art forms, not just calligraphy, is it takes a lot of practice. So it's the same with Chinese calligraphy. People who are masters now have been doing it for years, for decades, and they started at a young age. But just practice, and also practicing the different forms that you can use, such as classic, seal, standard, running. And obviously you can become masters of a specific kind of script, but a lot of people who are masters today are modeled their work after the old masters. One master is Wang Qiji, but he was a master of running script and influenced a lot of old calligraphy styles. So it just takes practice. You can go to school for it, you can learn it, earn a degree in it. But yeah, just an appreciation for the art and passion for it.
So, what do you personally enjoy about calligraphy?
I have always liked making and doing art, and I think that this was a nice marriage of art and education and history all together. I learned a lot about how people express themselves using this art form. I learned a lot about Chinese history and how the language has developed in different regions and different countries around the world. And I personally liked having an outlet this semester to express myself and to take a break from the normal science classes that I was taking and to sort of challenge myself in a different field that I'm not used to. So I just really appreciated the outlet that it gave me and all that I learned from it and the relationships that I made along the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.